Hey everyone, Murray Fife here, Principal Technical Specialist and Global Black Belt at Microsoft. For those of you that don't know me, I focus a lot on the finance and supply chain and asset management products within the Dynamics 365 Business App Suite. And I thought I'd create this video and share some findings that I've had as I've been working through some new technologies for me, and how I'm relating them back to to Dynamics 365, and especially in this case, asset management. Now, the what what I want to uh, talk about, or what I've been working on, is going out and modeling all of the asset structures within Dynamics 365, and also the locations and sites and so forth as Azure Digital Twins. Now, the digital twins are interesting because they're a service within Azure where you can go out and you can create your own uh, definitions or views of physical assets, but model them within the system, within Azure Digital Twins. The This allows you to aggregate information from a number of different places and not necessarily put all the information back into Dynamics 365, but track it and then start getting some reporting off it, which I'll show in just a second. So this is what you're looking at here is my smart factory or smart asset graph that I created here within the Azure Digital Twins. And I've modeled this based off the standard demo data for Dynamics 365, where I've got, I can have sites with warehouses, and you can see that there's relationships between these. And then I also have some factories, and I've got an extrusion line here. And then I've got one of the extrusion lines has an extruder piece of machinery on it. Then below that, we have a number of different pieces of equipment. So this is a blender. And then you can see that you can start storing some information here. And then below that, we have telemetry that's coming through that I can start tracking within the system. So if I'm going out and looking at some of these, then we've got temperature information coming through within this view. Now, this go as a way that we can look at this information, and then, but the benefit of the digital twin is it's a sort of a queryable resource that then we can go and use later on. So all of the information that we're starting to record here in the asset graph, we could go out and query. So in this case, I could say, I want to select the digital twins where the temperature is greater than 50. And I can go out and I can create embedded sort of SQL statements like this. And then I could run the results and then see all of the sensors, which are highlighted here, which have a temperature range right now above 50 degrees. Now, this is just a visual representation, but we could go out and we could use this in filters and queries so that we could go and start looking at machinery that may be down or may have problems with it. Now, also what we can do is we can go out and define all this information. We can view models here, and we could go out and define our custom properties or our custom um, uh, data data shape or that we're working with, and extend this out and have more and more information stored away. So if we have information coming from not only IoT sensors, but from other areas, then we can start augmenting this. We could have work orders that are associated with production lines, or we could have workers that are located on the lines so that we can model out the physical world here within the virtual twins. But how this starts getting a little bit more interesting is that what I've got here is I'm using IOT Central, which is another Azure resource. And what I can do is I can provision a a new device. And in this case, I can simulate it. So I'm going to create an MX chip, which is going to start feeding telemetry through into my Azure Digital Twin. So in a second, we're going to get some telemetry here within the view. Now, I don't actually have that asset here or showing up in this view. So I could add this myself. So I could go into the sensor and I could create a twin, but we don't really want to do that. What we want to do is we want to go out and create a new asset. So I'm just going to find that resource. I'll do it over here. And so we can go into finance and operations. What I'm going to do is I'm here within asset management, and I'm going to create a new sensor record. And then I'm going to make this asset a sensor. So I've already defined this. I'm going to put this over on my extruder line, and I could have additional assets here if I want to for the parent asset, but I'm just going to create this asset. Now I've gone out and I've created a quick integration that goes out and uses the query language for the Azure Digital Twins and will create a new asset for me over here within the model graph. So if I run this query, then usually it takes just a minute or so to run. And then I'm going to see that I'm actually going to have a new asset created here within the system. So as I said, this is just a Power Automate flow. So it's if we did this with a Logic app, it could be a little bit faster. But this is going to run, and in a second, I'm going to be able to see this asset. So let's hold off on that, and I'll come back to this asset and show you how we can manage this. But when we go out and we start looking at our Azure Digital Twin, then there's some other things that we can do here. So I've got my Smart Factory Digital Twin, and then I can go out and create endpoints associated with this. So this is one of the benefits. So we're getting IoT telemetry coming through, and then we could go out and create a rule that says when the when I update a digital twin and when the sensor value is greater than 50, then go and do something. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out to an endpoint. That endpoint is defined, and I can go out and create new endpoints here. And this could go out to an event grid or an event hub or a service bus. I think this one's going out to an event grid within the system. And then every time the telemetry changes, then it's going to go out and initiate in this case, an event grid event that then goes out and calls through to Power Automate. And then every time something updates, then we're going to see the change here, and we can even go in and look at this. I'm not doing anything with this right now, but it is going out and it passes through the twin that this is associated with, and then also all the telemetry associated with it. So now, also what we can do with our smart factories, we can go out and we can link to a data historian. So rather than store all of the telemetry changes within asset management, we can go out and use the Data Explorer to look at all the changes that we have in the system. So every time some telemetry comes through, then it's going to go out and give us all of that information. So I can go out and I can change this, and I can run this. And this is sort of like a SQL statement, and it's going to then run and pull out all the information that I've got here in the query. And we can see that we've got around about 182,000 records here. And this is the sensor that's changing, and this is the value that's changing. And we can scroll through this, we get complete history. So I could go and look at this by timestamp, or I could go out and do what I did up here and filter this out. So I see just for this particular sensor, I want to see the temperature. And I could go out, I think I made a mistake there. But we could go out and run that and get all the information out. Now, there's a lot of things you can do here with this query, and you can do time series analysis and a couple of other things within the system. But this is the query that we can do. Now, once we have that query, then we can go out and start analyzing this directly within Power BI. So all the telemetry from our asset is coming through, and then I could go out and I could look at the temperature changes for this particular sensor and see what trends are there. Later on, maybe I'll work out that I could, maybe I'll create some machine learning models to go out and look for, predict things like mean time between failures or the mean time between spikes. I could use it to work out the asset expected lifespan because we have this telemetry running in the background. So now if I just quickly return back here and run the query, then soon, oh wait, turn off that, let me run it. Then we're actually going to see the new, let me select them all. We're going to see the new, we should see the new item that I just created, which is actually this one here. And then telemetry is already coming through. So within the graph, I could also automate this, and then to have it when I go out and create, for example, a Blender asset, then it could go out and create the digital twin for me, but I haven't done that just yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out and create a Blender, and then I'm going to add that to my extrusion line. And then I'm going to go out and I'm going to take my sensor and add this to the Blender. And now what we've got is we've got this relationship that we're tracking here within the view, here within the digital twin, going out and giving us telemetry. It's giving us time phase telemetry that we can go and analyze, and we can query directly through Data Explorer or through other tools. And we're also starting to build out the digital structure of our organization so that we can go out and start querying it. So we can take this and we can do more with it by going out and then using this almost as a repository for all the information associated with our assets and with our factory in this case, and create other things like Power Apps. We could create more advanced dashboards. We can have additional IoT devices going through and feeding through into here. We could have multi-level asset structures modeled out here as well, which is probably the next thing that I want to do. So I hope this was interesting. It's going out and it's using asset management and digital twins, IoT Central, and then doing a whole slew of different things. Just one final note that I'll make is that I didn't learn all this just out of the blue. I actually used Alexander Mayer's book, which just came out, I think, a couple of months ago, which is Hands-on Digital Twins, for anyone who wants to work through this and start getting the IoT intelligence information triggering through into the digital twins, and then also do more with it, like go out and use Azure Maps for location indicators and some other fun things. Then this book is amazing, and it's super easy to work through. So I wanted to give a call out to Alexander on that, because it's a great book and you can buy it on Amazon and probably a number of different places. So yeah, so again, I hope this was interesting. It's what I've been working on in my spare time over the past couple of weeks, trying to understand how the digital twins work, and I'm really excited about it. I think there's a lot of things that we can do here within the application. So again, thank you very much for wading through this or stepping through this with me. If you have any questions, then you can contact me. You can find me on LinkedIn, Murray Fife, or pretty much on any other social media platform using that same handle. So thanks so much, and hope this was interesting, and have a great rest of the day for everyone who's watching.